Well, that was absolutely beautiful. The Entertainer, sung by Katie Tunstall, which is the first song she's doing for me today, but it's the final song, I think, on the album.
It's the closer.
Yeah, it's the closer, Tiger Suit. Very different from the album, and a very, very heartfelt song and a very heartfelt rendering, I think, there too.
Yeah, it was strange sort of trying to pick what songs to put on the record, because I'd gone on this writing odyssey for a year, because I don't really write on tour, so I had to take the time out to write some new material, and ended up with 75 tunes. And it was, I mean, a huge amount for me.
When you say 75 tunes, do you mean literally tunes, or do you mean songs?
Yeah,
it's not
75 songs.
Good
and
Lord.
It was a surprise. I really didn't expect to write that much. And at first I was kind of disturbed about how on earth I was going to whittle it down. And in the end, me and my label boss and my manager and my producer all sat in a room after a few days listening to them all and said, right, well, let's write our top 10. And we got in the room and 8 were the same. So it was kind of, yeah, it was, and I mean, that's a lot of different agendas in one room. So it was a relief that it kind of was obvious which songs worked together.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that the other songs weren't good. It was more that these ones made sense. And the really exciting thing for me was there was such a mixture of really heavily dance-influenced, upbeat thumpers, and then something like The Entertainer, which is a real kind of heartfelt tearjerker, which is... but the way we recorded them just made them all lock together in a way.
Well, tell us about that, because as you use the word odyssey, and that's absolutely the word I came up with too, and I was thinking about the long process of this, about you going away travelling and coming up with all the songs and kind of trying them out, demoing them in your own studio, and then you go off to Berlin.
Yeah.
Tell us about the guy that you worked with and what he brought as a producer to this.
Well, I was thinking about who to use as a producer. It's very difficult to choose, because you don't, even if someone's done something you love, it doesn't mean you're going to get on with them.
Yeah.
And my label boss at my label Relentless suggested Jim Abbiss. Fantastic CV. First Arctic Monkeys record, Kasabian record, editors Adele, Temper Trap, which I particularly love. But because the label had suggested it, it's like your mum suggesting who your producer should be. So I didn't want to like him. And then met him, and we just got on like a house on fire. And it was funny because we both have pretty eclectic musical tastes, but we'd find that in every record that we loved, we always liked the same songs.
What a good match. That's
yeah,
amazing.
it was kind of spooky in the end. We had a lot in common. And then the other thing was his sense of humour. I've not laughed so much since I was a kid.
But that must be really important, particularly if it's somebody new that you've got to get to know quickly and be very creative and exposing of your artistic side too. There's got to be that chance to just laugh.
Yeah, and I've been very candid about the fact up until this point I've not enjoyed recording. I found it a very alien environment. I find it difficult to express myself in the way that I do live. And this was the first time I really had a blast recording, and I think you can probably hear it in.
Well, how would you describe the sound? Because our listeners are Katie Tunstall, Tiger Suit virgins, but I mean, there's a lot of synth action going on.
There's a lot of synth action, but worry not if you're a fan of the old stuff, because for me, the foundation of what I do under my name is always going to be songwriting, melody, lyrics, and rhythm. They're the things that will always turn me on forever, I think, and always be things that I'm interested in exploring. But with this, after the travelling that I'd done, and I hadn't had the money to do the backpacking thing in my 20s, it's just been trying to get it together with the music. And it was the first chance I thought, okay, I've got a bit of money in my pocket, I'm going to go and see some of these places that I really want to see. So finished up the tour in South America, went to Chile, Ecuador, Peru, went to India.
And this was you and your husband?
Yes.
So that must have been nice
man.
too, because you get married in the middle of all of the whirlwind, so be able to take some time out with him too must have been terrific.
It was really important for us, actually, because we spend our life with 10 other blokes. Yeah. So even though we're together all the time, there's not a lot of time to be loved up and intimate and just ignore the rest of the world. And we went to ended up in New Zealand, where we did this fantastic project with Neil Finn, which was a complete coincidence, actually. But that was a chance to watch some of my favourite artists of all time writing from scratch and recording. So that was just... He
was on the show and he talked about that.
Yeah, it was a massive, valuable experience. And then also went up to the Arctic, which was part of the Cape Farewell project, which is a charity that takes scientists and artists up the Arctic. And And I wrote the opener of the album after being there.
Can you pronounce it? Because I can't. I can't actually see it because my site's
It is
deteriorating.
Umanak song.
The Umanak, just Umanak song.
And
because that's the place that you visited.
Yeah,
Umanak.
the town. We were on this boat, and it's a climate change project. It takes scientists to do genuine climate change research, and then a bunch of artists. So it was myself, Robin Hitchcock, Martha Wainwright, Leslie Feist, Laurie Anderson,
My God,
Vanessa
so
Carlton,
a group of people together.
Ryuichi Sakamoto.
What?
It was just
That's mental.
I mean, really great, but totally mental. And Jarvis Cocker also.
No.
All on this ex-Russian military vessel for 10 days. And then one of our stop-offs was in this place, this town called Umanak, with 2,000 people, 4,000 husky dogs howling the whole time, icebergs the size of skyscrapers floating around. And we did a little gig. And I am in love with that landscape. I always have been. But from an ego point of view, I mean, my own ego just found a very large machete and just attacked me. And I ended up having this huge confidence crash, basically, where I just didn't feel that I was a caliber equal to these people I was with. And it was just sort of this very harsh mirror. And it wasn't that I'm not proud of what I've done. I am. I'm really proud of it. But I think it just made me glaringly aware that I was going to have to dig really deep to fulfill myself creatively, and it was going to be a really hard job to impress myself, because these people were impressive people who really write from the heart and create work that, you know, will mean that's meaningful. And not to say mine wasn't, but I just knew I had a lot of work to do.
But I think you've succeeded, because I think that's for me, as I say, having just listened to it once, that's the hallmark of this. It's a very different sound, but you have dug deep.
Oh, thank you.
And the songs do come through, because it is that old cliche. You know, if it was all to stop tomorrow, you are one of those artists who would still get out with your guitar and play, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever stop playing, regardless. If all the pubs burnt to the ground, I'd still be playing. But I think, that was part of the story behind the title, was that I've always got on stage and I've always wanted to go up as myself. And I love artists who have characters like Bowie and Brian Eno and, you know, Lady Gaga and Beyonce, and seeing them create these incredible showmen and showwomen and characters. But I just thought the music that I make requires me to be myself. But I think during this process, which has been quite profound, I acknowledged that it's not as simple as that. There is an armoury to getting on stage, to going out in the world, to showing everybody your goods and opening your heart up with your lyrics and being judged for it. And it was just so obvious after that trip to Greenland that I was going to have to take this off, and I'd actually ended up wearing it all the time to protect myself from that judgment. And I can't write like that. I've got to take it off to write. And it was basically quite painful taking it off, and took a while to really get to the excavation stage of writing new material and really kind of questioning where I was at.
Yeah.
And I'm incredibly grateful that it happened, because I think that's a kind of main line to making really boring music if you don't question yourself.
Yeah, it's probably a panicky thought for you if you hadn't made that strange trip.
It was horrible. Yeah.
What would have happened?
But it was difficult, and there was a couple of months of big time self-doubt and not knowing whether I was capable of producing what I wanted to. So meeting Jim was a really important thing, because he is an experimenter and really pushed me, and would often leave me in a room with a synthesizer for an hour.
That's a bit scary.
Going, just see what you come up with, and I'll be back in a bit. And it was just great. And because of all those travels, I also did something new, where writing songs in the past, I would just be a slave to the style that song was born in. So say Stopping the Love from the first album was a kind of jazzy, soul-y number. It was produced as a jazzy, soul-y song. And this time, I just didn't let the songs dictate.
Yeah.
And I told them what they were going to be. And I really got into this thing where I wanted to transport myself to a place. So each of these songs to me has got a landscape.
Yeah.
And I think that's what those travels did, was just really broaden my imagination for these sort of visual landscapes.
Because
for
that
these
first
songs
song
to
has
be
a sort of tribal feel. And is it, which
Yeah.
one, do I detect a didgeridoo at some point?
It's actually at the beginning of Umanak.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's another song I thought I heard a didgeridoo. I don't know if it was Golden Frames or something.
Oh,
I'll
well,
have to go
that's
back and listen
actually a
again.
load of mad guitar experimentation by my friend Leo, who turns up with like a suitcase of pedals and a computer and an old beat-up guitar and just makes soundscapes.
I like it.
Yeah,
I
so
like
it was
it.
very exciting.
Right, well, he's not here. It's just Junior guitar again for second and final song, which is Fade Like a Shadow, which is a bit more upbeat than the one, the more
Yeah.
not that it's not heartfelt, but it's, bit of stomping going on.
It's a lot of stomping. I think I'm going to make the monitor shake
Yeah,
when I
okay,
do
we'll be
this
very
one.
careful. All right, everybody, pay attention. Katie Tunstall, Fade Like a Shadow.